associated with it. Whereas a communication dated December 12, 2019 from the President of Liberia was received on December 17, 2019 by the House of Representatives requesting the legislature to authorize the Central Bank of Liberia to print and infuse additional $4 billion Liberian dollars to address the shortage of Liberian dollars on the market. Whereas the request is in fulfillment of Article 34D2I of the Liberian Constitution of 1986, which provides that authorization for the printing of currency and the minting of coins is a prerogative of the legislature, qualifying that such authorization shall originate from the House of Representatives. Whereas the House's Committee on Banking and Currency, to which said request was forwarded for review, has reported that the Central Bank of Liberia, which is the institution responsible for administering our monetary regime, has emphasized on an oath that the total money supply is less than the demand for economic transactions, which has resulted to pressure on the banking sector in regards to the quest of cash. Whereas the House endorsed the committee's below recommendations to the plenary of the House to wait. A, that the Central Bank of Liberia clearly states the cost of the printing and how it will be funded. B, that the Central Bank of Liberia provides a breakdown of the denominations to be printed. C, that the Central Bank of Liberia provides clarity on the printer in the wake of confusion that marred the printing of the previous 15.5 billion. D, that the Central Bank of Liberia communicates with the House through an approved board resolution for said printing and infusion. E, that after the printing, the Central Bank of Liberia shall notify the legislature of the actual volume and value of currency printed and imported into the country. F, that the Central Bank of Liberia shall come up with the necessary regulations to stop the hoarding of cash and the attendant penalties for violations. And G, that the Central Bank of Liberia will ensure that all mutilated Liberian banknotes be sterilized after the printing. Now, therefore, the House of Representatives hereby grants the request of the President of Liberia, thereby authorizing the Central Bank of Liberia to print and infuse Liberian dollars 4 billion of the currency in circulation to address the acute shortage of Liberian banknotes on the market and the corresponding financial crisis associated with it, as expressed in the request based on the above conditions endorsed by plenary. Accordingly, we have here honor affix our signatures to this resolution. Mr. Speaker, honorable ladies and gentlemen, there was a reading of a resolution signed by 210 members of the House of Representatives for onward submission to the Senate for action. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Clerk. Distinguished colleagues, having heard the communication just read, a resolution for the printing and infusion of 4 billion Liberian dollars banknote in circulation for the relief on the pressure on the currency in circulation. What is your will and pleasure? Honorable Snow.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, Mr. Speaker, having listened to the resolution and having obtained the required signature, taking into consideration the security implication that our economy is faced with, I move, if I can obtain a second, that this resolution be adopted by this House and sent to the Liberian Senate for concurrence, suspending all of our rules since we are closing today, and necessary action be taken legislatively.
So second.
Thank you, former Speaker.
Distinguished colleagues, without any equivocation and without restating the motion, are you ready to vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, fellow colleagues, to the movement, I will be ready to vote considering the nature of the communication and also with a resolution before this resolution in the tune of $30 billion that was signed, I will be ready to vote if this body will suspend the first resolution and give rise to the second resolution for the printing of the $14 billion. He has not been part of this house.
Chief Deputy is giving information. Is that a resolution of such?
Yes.
No, not to my knowledge. She has not been
So
submitted.
rejected. Based on the information with Chief Clerk.
So, Honorable, just for a little information, it has not been submitted for transmission. Though the, okay, yes. Honorable, yes. So with this said, are you ready to vote?
Ready.
All those in favor of making them put your right hand.
The vote is unanimous. Including the resolution number.
Those against. Those abstain. Chief Clerk,
Result.
please act accordingly. It is a unanimous vote.
Unanimous vote.
Please act accordingly.
The vote is hereby carried.
With the unanimous vote, the motion carried. Madam Chief Clerk, please act accordingly.
Yes, sir.
Motion for adjournment.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I did motion.
Yeah. True. Yes. Thank you. We rush here.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, having exhausted deliberations on items and instruments for which this special session was called by His Excellency the President and extended by the Legislature, I move, if I can get a second, that we now close this special session of the National Legislature, particularly the House of Representatives, thereby forwarding to the leadership of the House of Representatives the power and authority of the legislature, particularly the House, for actions on all issues, particularly two functions of the legislature, and that has to do with oversight and representation, leaving alone that which has to be done by only the plenary, and that is lawmaking. If I can get a second.
Second. Very mature motion.
Distinguished colleagues, with that said, we cease the motion, and I would like to, before we adjourn, inform the Liberian populace that the purpose for which we were convened has been exhausted, and our colleagues have acted with masterfulness and exerted patriotic fervor based on the challenges that may have come their way. They have surmounted all of the pressure. So, distinguished colleagues, for your unmatched patriotism, we want to say to you, we are grateful to have you as our peers. It is stated that gratitude is the best attitude. So we are happy that you have been able to play a role as national leaders. On this note, I want to thank all of you, and I wish you a festive season. With that said, can you please restate your motion? Yeah.
So I stated before.
Mr. Speaker, as stated before, having exhausted the agenda that warranted the call of the President to a special session of the National Legislature. I move, if I can get a second, that the powers of the legislature as part of our legislative practice be transferred to the leadership of the legislature, especially so to carry out two cardinal responsibilities of three, out of three, and that is representation and oversight on behalf of the legislature. And there shall be no attempt on the part of leadership to make a law or to make any law which is the exclusive responsibility of the plenary of this House. If I can get a second.
No second.
Distinguished colleagues, to all reach the motion, are you ready to vote? All those in favor, putting up your right hand.
All the ones stay.
Who won the session will be adjourned. And will return in January. Please put up your right hand.
Unanimous.
All those against, the unanimous vote. With that said, adjourned.
You pay me for that.